Hello everyone, welcome to another AviationPro live stream. Hope you can hear me all right, so let me know. Hope it's working. It looks like it's working from my side, so I hear some audio running at least. So how are we doing? Yeah, I can hear something. That's good. That's good. So just a little simple live stream this time, not a flight. I just want to chat a little bit with you guys, especially after all the views that came in last month after my Explain 11 videos. It's been crazy, I'll tell you. It's been really crazy. How many new people subscribed, and after just releasing one Explain video, and of course there's a whole big audience behind that, and I want to thank everyone for subscribing lately, and with all the comments on those videos. Really lovely. So hello Aviation Gamer, hello Madhu. Looks like it's going well. Aviation 737 pilot, yeah, I did see the mail. I cannot respond to every email very quickly because there's just so much comments these days on those videos and a lot of emails. So I'm sorry if I've not replied to everyone's comments or emails yet. I will try my best to do so, of course. Hello Sandipan, welcome, good evening or good morning wherever you are. Lauren, Luca, hello. Glad to have you all on board. Yep, 100 subscribers until 20k. That's crazy, right? Yeah, I wonder when that once we hit that border. It's crazy. There's a lot of subscribers lately, so that's great stuff. And I just wanted to share a little bit my Explain 11 experience so far. First of all, I want to thank Luke and Brett for supplying me with some add-ons. I've not tried them yet, but I will try them very soon. You'll probably also see that in a video. Because, of course I did comparison so far just with bare Explain 11 with some free add-ons, but not using payware add-ons yet. So what you can expect soon is probably the XAC 737 in a video soon. And probably will do another comparison video of some sort, which I think is great fun. So stay tuned for that, and then probably some other add-ons that I will try, because I do really like Explain 11. It's been a good experience so far. And I also want to thank all the other people that send some add-ons or emails, comments. It's really helpful. Hello, greetings from Lithuania. Yes, I know Lithuania is in Europe. Good evening, everyone. So let me know in the live chat, what do you think about Explain 11? And that's kind of what I want to share with you first. And then talk a little bit about what I would like to see in Prepared version 5. Of course, Prepared version 5 is still very far away. I don't think that will come in about two years, something like that. I mean, we pretty much, version 4 just came out maybe about a little over half a year ago. So I don't expect anything big to happen soon, but there's bound to be another new version coming, and I would love to see some stuff that I now see in Explain going into there. Hello Captain Easy, glad to have you all on board in the chat room. So let me know about Explain 11. You already see some negative comments. Well, let's say positive, guys. I mean, they're both good simulators, and each simulator has their pros and cons. So what I immediately noticed about Explain 11 is the flight dynamics. That I have to say, I've always heard that story that the flight dynamics and the flight modeling are much more realistic. And yes, I can definitely say after trying a few flights now, it's much more realistic. I'm not sure at what power cost it comes, because the CPU probably needs to do a lot of work to do that flight modeling. But so far it's been stable. Some things that I don't like about Explain was the seasons. I know there's an payware product now, TerraMux, that introduces seasons, but only from what I read, I know that it's probably not as good at season switching as you see in Prepared. Although in Prepared, you know, if you're flying around in Europe in this time of year, kind of see summer and winter textures being mixed up, which is kind of weird. But anyway, you know, in general, the experience has been very nice. So yeah, it's definitely a simulator that you should try. And if you're on a low budget, I think this is a better simulator to start with in the first place, because you really don't need fancy PMDG add-ons if you just want to have a fun experience flying an airliner for a low price. So anyway, so the flights I did, you know, were just very short, and I've not done any long flights yet. I've definitely not flown on VATSIM yet, so that will probably happen at some point. So what else do I like about X-Plane 11 so far? You know, the user experience is pretty friendly, I have to say. You know, it's a bit more open towards the general public, I think, than Prepared, which kind of scares you away, especially when you look at the licenses and all that stuff, and it's not for entertainment purposes, things like that. And it's just a little bit easier, you know. You just, you know, drop a folder in a plugins folder and it works. You know, there's not much configuration to be done. That's really nice. Yeah, I said about the flight dynamics, that's definitely better. The weather, you know, you saw in my last comparison video that I think that it was a little bit exaggerated, especially when the weather settings are really high, so with a lot of wind shear and a lot of wind turbulence. But you know, that's okay. Maybe that's something they need to tweak, or maybe it is indeed that bad. I mean, there were some comments by real-world pilots. You definitely have to check that out, and you can see that some of the pilots argue, you know, X-Plane is a bit too exaggerated, or Prepared is just too little, or X-Plane is actually spot on and then Prepared is just too little. At least, you know, I think there's a general consensus that Prepared does indeed, you know, have too little simulation effects of weather. So if you set a sheer amount in Prepared, not much happens to the aircraft. While in real world, probably a lot will happen to the aircraft. So just keep that in mind. Let me see a little bit in the chat room. How are we doing? So yeah, there's also a question by Madhu, which do I now prefer more, X-Plane or Prepared? Well, I think Prepared is still my favorite sim. I mean, they're my favorite add-ons, and I've got you know, the airports that I fly to there are all in Prepared, and yeah, frankly, it's just a sim that I can work with best. I don't think I will ever fully switch, you know. I don't think there's such a thing as switching simulators, you know. Just you can enjoy them both anytime you want. Especially, I think I will enjoy flying general aviation airplanes and maybe helicopters in X-Plane 11. So that's kind of my wrap up about X-Plane 11. At the positive sides, the negative sides, I already talked about this lack of seasons. Although, yeah, you have to have a payware add-on. I'm not sure if they're actually adding it soon. That would be nice. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee before my voice, you know, is so deteriorated that I cannot talk to you guys anymore. Anyway, you know, indeed the scenery is a bit generic if you don't have that ortho 4x X-Plane stuff, you know, with the photoreal background. But even if you have photoreal background, you know, I'm not personally very much a fan of that, because yes, it looks great in summer, but there are like 3-4 other seasons. Four if you know, look a little bit more close, because you have like autumn, spring, winter, and hard winter. So winter where everything is just kind of brownish, and then also the winter where it's snowy and icy. And yeah, that's what I do not really like about photoreal sceneries. Personally, that's just a personal opinion. So that's what I really like about Prepared, because there you have add-ons like Orbex, and Orbex is actually releasing a great product. You have to check that out on their forums, Orbex FTX Netherlands, and that looks amazing. I mean, every season is modeled, you know, 5 different seasons. The Altigen is just very complete. Every building in the Netherlands has been modeled, from what I know, which is crazy. And yeah, if you look at the pictures, you'll know what I'm saying. And I just like that variety. I mean, I fly about, you know, on average 3 flights per month, I would say. So, you know, throughout the year, I kind of only make a very few flights compared to maybe someone who has a lot more time for flight simming than I do. You know, if I would fly these little flights through the years, you know, I kind of see how the scenery changes, and I really like that dynamic. So that's what I like about Prepared. Other things I don't like about X-Plane, well, the performance is not as good, I have to say. You know, the smoothness is okay, but I can definitely see that the frames are lower. Maybe it just needs tweaking on my side, but out of the box it runs pretty smooth. So yeah, I should not complain too much. But if I started the default airport in Prepared with a, you know, the F-22 Raptor, I have like 120 frames per second, which is crazy. I probably won't get that in X-Plane. I think get about 50 or 60 with a default aircraft at a any default location, kind of a normal airport without too much surroundings. How's the chat room doing? Yeah, Orbex maybe is going to X-Plane as well. That would be amazing. I know that FTX Netherlands is gonna be released for X-Plane 11 eventually as well. So a question by Lauren: have you started the Arto 4XP tiles already? Well, no, I haven't yet. I think I want to try that out for at least one region, just to check out how it looks, and could probably make some very nice videos with those photoreal scenery. Yeah, what I do like about that, by the way, is that you can have that altigen on top as well. Otherwise, you just have a flat photo scenery, and I don't like to, you know, see that at all. So, anyway. So that's kind of my, you know, general view of X-Plane right now. Are there any other negatives that I can think of right now? Yeah, the weather just a little bit too exaggerated, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's not so much negative to think of right now. Maybe when I fly the actual sim itself, and you know. I probably come across something again. So then on to the second thing, Prepared version 5. Yes, Bill, I've mentioned it. Now, I'm not part of Lockheed Martin or anything, or into the development of that. Just a hypothetical next version of Prepared, which I think will come probably in about 2 years. So I don't think we should be surprised to see things. But to be honest, if they really want to keep up with the developments that are going now with X-Plane 11, I think they have to do something, because I mean, they put a lot of focus on virtual reality, but there are also in other sims you can already do that. So yeah, I think they should put more emphasis on flight modeling, to be honest, because you know, the way the aircraft responds to the air and the weather in Prepared version 5 is, or version 4 right now, sorry, is definitely not as realistic as you would feel in X-Plane or in the real world for that matter. I mean, flying a Cessna in normal weather conditions is just, you know, going straight and nothing really happens. So what I would love to see in Prepared version 5 is just a complete overhaul of the flight modeling, so that, you know, we get really realistic, you know, movement of the airplanes in the air, even when there's just no significant weather, you know. I mean, the aircraft will always have some kind of response to bumps in the air, you know. I mean, if you ever have flown as a passenger, you know what I'm talking about, you know. Even if the air is very smooth, or if the landing is in smooth conditions without too much cloud or, you know, winds, there's always movement. And yeah, I think in Prepared that's a little bit too shallow simulated. So I would love to see that. Another thing I'd love to see, if that could happen, is to have a 3D cloud models. Now, of course, I've made some videos about Skyforce 3D by Rex, but that's not truly 3D. So there's a product called TrueSky. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it, which looks way better. If you have not checked it out, I would definitely you know, urge you to find out more about this technology, because that's really nice. I think they used in Dovetail's Flight Sim World, they already use it. So you really have this 3D look of the cloud, so that when you fly past the cloud, you can actually, see the structure moving past you instead of a 2D texture that is facing you. Because right now, when I fly towards the 3D cloud in Prepared with Skyforce, the clouds that are very close to the cockpit are just kind of, fading away next to you, which is not very realistic. In most cases, you don't see that because, the active sky effects and the, just the puffiness of the clouds kind of mask that effect. But sometimes with some textures in Skyforce 3D, it really doesn't look that realistic. So that would be great if they could implement something like True Sky. So yeah, that's kind of my idea about what Prepared version 5 would have to include. And then I also was thinking about the terrain in Prepared version 5, if they could do something with that, because as I said a little bit earlier, when I fly right now in this season, springtime, in a lot of countries, especially with mountains, you see all kinds of summer textures and winter textures combined. It would be great if they could somehow, maybe using live data. I mean, there are enough satellites, I think, to make photos of the Earth's surface. Maybe it would be awesome if somehow you would every day have a just an idea. This is just an idea, which would be awesome. I'm not sure how realistic it is. It probably costs a lot to do this, but if you could somehow on a day-per-day basis have an overview of what the ground should look like. So where you have snow, there's actual snow, for example, so that the textures don't get mixed up, so that also the transitions between summer or spring textures and especially between snowy textures and brown textures are much better. That would be amazing, because another more general issue with the terrain, in my opinion, in Prepared is when you fly in wintertime on the 28th or 27th of February, and then it becomes March, from one day to another, suddenly the entire surface of the Earth looks green, in Europe at least. That's kind of unrealistic. It would just be nice if the transition between the textures is better, probably using a whole kind of new technique to do this. And if if it is based on more real world data, and if those, it doesn't need to be live data, but at least that, per region, there's a better idea of when to switch to a new season. That's my opinion. Of course, it's difficult. Right now here in the Netherlands, spring is very late. It's been cold very late this year. So right now all the trees are still brown. Well, a couple of years ago, by this point, probably the trees would already be green. So I know that's difficult, but it's something to think about. And I think there's in general just a lot of room for improvement there. So anyways, let me know in the chat room what you think. If you have any ideas or suggestions for future flight simulators like Prepared version 5 or maybe X-Plane 12. You never know what's coming up. So how's the chat room doing in the meantime? I'll be able to answer some questions. So if you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the chat room so I can answer them for you. I'll try to scroll back a little bit, see if I missed anything. And by the way, if you want to help me get the 747-8, there's a ticker right here. If you want to check that out, that would be much appreciated in the description. Yeah, I'm not sure when it's released, by the way, but I hope it will be soon. That would be very nice. So I'm looking forward to flying that new 747. So we'll keep an eye out on the PMDG forums for that. Anyway, let me check out the chat room for a little bit. So if you have any questions related to this topic, or if you have any ideas about Prepared version 5 or X-Plane 12, the next generation of simulators, let me know. I'd be interested to hear your suggestions and ideas. What did I miss? ATC is the worst. Yeah, oh yeah, I've heard that about X-Plane. You know, of course I don't use default ATC anymore. I'm just flying on VATSIM, which, to be honest, is much better than any default ATC application. But I heard that the ATC is not that good in X-Plane. I've not actually tried it, so I have to check out what that sounds like and why it's so bad. I wonder why it's so bad though. Is it the voice quality, or is it the actual procedures that are not being used? I don't know. But yeah, again, for me that's not really a problem. I'm just flying on VATSIM, so that's fine. Sandboxer, I heard Q2 in 2019. What's about that? I'm not sure what that's about. Anyway, probably not the release of Prepared version 4, right? Anyway, question by Brendan: if you buy PMDG planes in Prepared, are the flight dynamics more realistic, or does that not matter? It does matter. I mean, the PayAware developers do put focus on modeling the flight dynamics accurately, but of course they are bound to the core system of Prepared, and you know, this core system of Prepared is where it's kind of lacking. So I'm sure there are other aircraft out there that are better at dealing with this, but the general consensus is that the airplane just reacts too light to the air conditions. So yeah, I mean, buying add-ons definitely helps improve the flight dynamics, but don't expect something like you would see in X-Plane 11. Okay. Aviation Gamer, you should do an X-Squawk Box video for people wanting to use VATSIM with X-Plane. Yeah, that's a good idea. Of course, in the last VATSIM 2017 tutorial series, I've kind of left X-Plane 11 out because by that time I did not have any experience with it. But I'm definitely interested to make some tutorials about that. And of course, I first need to find out myself how this works, right? So I cannot just make a tutorial if I don't know myself how it works. So I'll keep you guys up to date, but it's definitely in the pipeline, as we would say here in the Netherlands. So maybe, you know, once I figure that out, once I actually make a flight on VATSIM, I'll probably live stream that just for fun using X-Plane 11. Then I will also make some tutorials on how to do it, which should be pretty interesting. Yeah, let me take a look. What else do we have? Sorry if I missed some questions. If you really want to have your question answered, make sure you use the super chat function if you'd like to support the channel, and then I won't miss it and I'll be able to answer it for sure. Otherwise, you can just leave it down below, of course, in the chat box or to the side of the screen. Doesn't really matter. Depends on what video size you've got on. Anyway, let me scroll up a little bit. Oh, Delta Who says Active Sky is developing a new weather system. Might be 3D clouds. Well, that would be amazing. I mean, if they could just implement that, I mean, that's kind of what I expected with Rex Skyforce, true 3D clouds, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. So yeah, I've not heard about X-Plane. I'll check that out. That's very interesting indeed. If X-Plane sorry, Active Sky. If Active Sky is really working on that, it would be very nice indeed. Of course, they've got ASCA clouds, and I think 3D clouds would be the next step. But I'm not sure how that would work in Prepared. I mean, that's of course a different simulator. I'm not sure how well that platform supports 3D clouds. I'm not sure how it works. I'm not an expert on the technical side of things regarding scenery or add-on development, so I don't know. But we'll see. Definitely interesting development. I think that's really the future, because today's clouds in X-Plane and in Prepared, even with add-ons, just don't look that good, do they? What else do we have? Question by Brennan again. I'm thinking about buying Prepared or X-Plane right now, and I'd like to fly airlines. Do you have any tips on which way I should go? Well, It really, yeah, this is a difficult question because, you know, my personal choice would still be Prepared. If you really want to go in depth in system simulations, because we know there are good add-ons out there. PMDG airplanes are system-wise great quality products, and I've not tested any of the other high-end products in X-Plane 11 yet, so I cannot really give a good advice regarding that. You know, if you should go for X-Plane or Prepared in that sense, but you know, if you just want to buy one airliner and have nice scenery for free, maybe X-Plane 11 is a better choice with something like the XX 737 Classic, or maybe one of the 757 or 767 add-ons that I'm also keen to try out in X-Plane 11. So if you like the 757 and 767, I think X-Plane 11 might be a better choice, because in Prepared there's not so good add-ons for that, unfortunately. Of course, we had Level D a long time for FS 2004, but since then no real good 767s or 757s have been released. Of course there's Captain Sim, but I've not heard that good stories about it yet, so because the systems are not you know, that much in depth. What else do we have? Yeah, weather engine, new seasons, and good ATC. That's kind of the general consensus about X-Plane, right? To have better ATC. Another question by Madhu: what do I do in my spare time? Apart from flying, well, I got a lot of hobbies, I'll tell you. Yeah, what do I do? I love cooking. I play the guitar, hang around with family and friends. I sing in a choir. Probably didn't know that. I'm also part of a voluntary organization, and yeah, studying, of course, although that's not really free time. So yeah. Other things I like to do: play guitar, do some sports. So yeah, there you have it, kind of. Anyways, what else do we have? Are there any questions, guys? Please leave them in the chat so I can answer them for you. If you have any questions regarding the X-Plane 11 experience so far, or maybe you can share your own experience. I mean, we can all learn from each other, right? Anyway, are you a real pilot? No, I'm not. I'm not a real world pilot, so I might go into flight training maybe after I've finished university. But I'm not sure yet, so we'll see how that goes. I'll definitely keep you guys up to date regarding that if anything goes on. Yeah, regarding real world flight training, it would be cool. I'm keeping my eye out, and yeah, maybe something will happen. So anyway, I'm just gonna take another sip of coffee. So let's see, I disagree quite heavily with recommending X-Plane to airline simmers. In future may be better choice, and it is cheaper, but Prepared has so many more options. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, you know, Prepared does indeed have a lot of options, you know, and just a lot of good add-ons that everyone knows are good add-ons. And I'm specifically mentioning PMDG airplanes because everyone knows system-wise those are great airplanes. So again, I have not tried any of the real airliners in X-Plane yet, so I cannot really tell what they're like. But I'll definitely share my experience with you regarding that. Let's take a look. Aviation 737 pilot, can I donate with PinPass? Well, I don't know you know, I think PayPal was the best option. I'm not sure if you can do that with your debit card. But thanks for the offer. What do you study? I'm studying health economics right now, so it's really not related to aviation, unfortunately. That's why I'm looking forward to do some flight training, hopefully soon. Are you from Slovakia? I think he's from Norway. No, I'm not from either of those countries. I'm from the Netherlands, if you're new here. I understand that a lot of people are new here after the Explain 11 videos. So, no, I'm from the Netherlands. I live in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. You might know that airport. Actually, I did feature that in my first Explain video, Rotterdam Airport. So, yeah. So, I'm not a Scandinavian or anything like that, or Eastern European, although I love to visit those countries. I like Norway. Also need to visit Slovakia sometime. Anyway, but I'm Dutch. What else do we got? If you hear my neighbor, by the way, he's a gaming addict, so if you hear screaming and laughing, you know what that is. I'm not sure if this microphone picks it up, but just so you know. What else do we got? Have you ever been to the UK in real life by Aviation Gamer? Yes, I've been in the UK. In fact, I'm going to the UK very soon. I told you that in my spare time I'm also singing in a choir, and with that choir I'm going to the UK in a couple of days. So that's pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to going there. It's a nice place. I like English breakfast a lot, and fish and chips. I actually made some fish and chips. That's my cooking part that I also like. I made some fish and chips myself. I really love the UK. I should go there more often. So, anyways, I think pilots always have, like to have, foreign drinks or things to eat. And there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. What else do we have? Juby Aviation, Explain is better for Airbus pilots. Oh, that's interesting. That could be, yeah. Because for Prepared, frankly, there are not a lot of good Airbus products. Of course, you got FS Labs, which in my opinion doesn't look very good. And, you had the FS Labs, what do they call it? Malware Labs thing, where they install malware on people's computers to make sure they don't hack, or if they did hack the system, or, cracked that aircraft, then they could look up personal information, things like that. So I'm not sure how that company is doing at this stage. But then you also have the Aerosoft. I know Aerosoft is working on some new Airbuses, so that would be interesting. But yeah, I've heard some good stories about the Airbus, and I know Luke, who also kindly donated some add-ons for Explain, urges me to try the Airbus, so maybe I will try that out. Of course, you know me, I'm not really an Airbus guy. I'm a really a Boeing man, but we'll see. Maybe indeed, if you're looking to flying Airbus, Explain 11 might be a better option, because I heard good stories. Alper, yeah, I live in Schiedam, that's close by, right? The Saint, good evening. Relatives in Groningen. Yeah, Groningen is a bit further away from here. Home of the KLM Flight Academy, at least Ilde. Ilde, Groningen Airport. All the way in the north of the Netherlands. So anyway. What else do we have? The Patriot, welcome in. Jonne from Enschede, good evening to you. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the chat room. Again, if you just came in, if you have any questions, make sure you leave them. If you have any ideas about Explain 11, Explain 12, or Prepared version 5, what you would like to see in those new sims, let us know. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and ideas in regards to that. Okay, what else do we have? Aviation Gamer, do you know if there's a study level MD11 for Explain in the making? I have no idea. Of course, the PMDG the PMDG MD11 was a very, popular product, and I already see Rotate MD11 is coming next year. Okay, that would be interesting. I'm interested to see how in-depth its systems will be, but definitely an interesting airplane. I mean, a lot of cargo airlines still use it. I think about FedEx and stuff like that. So. Those old airplanes are definitely not gone yet. So I think, go for it. I mean, that would be a nice airplane if you are flying Explain. What else do we have? Explain or Prepared, which is more realism compared to real life, by Debashis Neok. Well, check out my video from last week where I did a comparison flight landing at Gibraltar. There's some real-world pilots commenting there, and maybe that will help you out determine which simulator would be more realistic. To be honest, system-wise, Prepared is more realistic. In terms of aircraft systems, because there's just a lot of add-ons that simulate the systems really well. But in terms of flight dynamics, again, I think X-Plane is a lot better, especially if you're flying general aviation airplanes. Michon Grimes, Prepared version 5. If Lockheed releases every 2 years, yeah. So that's what I thought as well. If they indeed keep on with that schedule, releasing every 2 years, I think it will still take some time before we see another Prepared add-on or a Prepared version. And of course, always the question is, how does the developer community respond to that? Because as we all know, new version of Prepared always breaks down stuff, and it takes some time for everyone to adjust. Even with the incremental service packs, it just takes time. So yeah, we'll see. Any other questions? Do you know Flight Tampa is coming to X-Plane? Yes, I've heard about it. Aren't they releasing Boston for X-Plane as well? Or at least, no, no, that's not true. What I saw was a screenshot on their Facebook page, indeed, showing a sloped runway. Oh, that's another thing that I don't like about X-Plane. Of course, sloped runways, yes, they are great. I mean, it's realistic, but at some airports like Gibraltar, there are just humps in the runway. And of course, you can install custom scenery to fix that. But if you're, not knowing there's a huge bump in the runway, flying to an airport like that, or taking off from an airport that, I mean, I was literally launched like an aircraft carrier when I took off from Gibraltar, which was crazy. Because there's, I mean, that transition to, a higher elevation was not very smooth in this particular case. Of course, in the real world, this transition probably would be very smooth, and then, it's not as much of a deal. But that's kind of interesting. So you can either disable it or just install custom mesh. So yeah, I saw the slope runway picture of Flight Tampa. I'm not sure what airport that is, by the way, but it looks like they're also developing for X-Plane. I mean, they can probably see that there's a growing market there, so I do not blame them for doing that. What else do we got? Let's take a look. Oh yeah, people in India. Yeah, it must be late for you guys. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, of course, when I do a VATSIM live flight, I try to do it in the afternoon as much as possible, like last one from Gatwick to Oslo. So I hope you have a good night. Question by Soldiers: have you tried the VRS Superbug? No, I've not. What's that? Let me look that up. I think I've heard about that. Oh, that's that one. That's the F-18. No, I've actually not tried any combat aircraft or, fighter jets, to be honest. I know about digital combat simulator and all that stuff. Yet another simulator to try, but I simply don't have time to try all those simulators, let alone all add-ons that X-Plane 11 or Prepared offer. So yeah, maybe I'll try digital combat simulator sometime to check out some fighter jets. That would be nice. Okay, so Flight Tampa is Corfu. Yeah, they did that airport before, right? So yeah, it will be interesting to see what that looks like in X-Plane from Flight Tampa. Must be a nice airport. I've never actually flown there, so I don't have the scenery, but yeah, I'm really interested to find out what that slope runway looks like, and the entire airport and the entire atmosphere, especially at night with the night lighting difference compared to, compared between Prepared version 4 and X-Plane 11. So how are we doing here? Let's take a look. Another question by Aus. Oops, there you go. X-Plane 11 aside for a moment, but what are your thoughts on the new Captain Sim 757? I'm in two minds whether to buy it or not. Yeah, I just talked about it actually a little bit. I'm kind of in the same position because, you know, I had the Captain Sim 757 a long time ago for FS 2004. I mean, back then the systems really did not bother me that much. I mean, those were my early days of flight simming. But from what I've read, its systems are not very deeply and well simulated. So I'm kind of waiting what PMDG comes up with next. I kind of have an hopeful feeling that they will do a 757 or 767, because if they do that, I mean, it makes no sense to get the Captain Sim 757. Good looking aircraft. Maybe it's nice to fly, but honestly, I'm not sure how well its systems are simulated. So maybe just check out some videos, see what you think about it. I mean, there's some other planes that are not, you know, very deeply simulated, like the Embraer by Field Air, for example. But yeah, I'm not sure. It depends kind of what you're looking for. If you're just taking it out for a couple of flights a year, just for fun, just to fly a 757, I guess it's okay. But if you really want to go into the deep information, tutorials, and, you know, really get a deep understanding of that aircraft, probably it's not the right one to go for. So yeah. Anything else? What's your favorite aircraft? Of course, a Boeing, but which one? Well, I like the Embraer aircraft actually, but I also like the Dutch Fokker 70 and 100. Those were really nice airplanes. Really sad that KLM has retired them by now, but those were definitely nice airplanes. So, but I do like the Embraers a lot too, and then specifically the Embraer ERJ series. Just nice little powerful airplanes with a nice cockpit as well. So. Yeah. What else do we have? Oh, do you have a PO box? Yeah, I read your email about that Aviation 737 pilot, but I've not replied yet because of all the emails that I still have to reply to. So I'll probably reply to you soon about that. But thanks for the offer. PMDG already created a great X-Plane aircraft by Peter. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the DC-6 is out for X-Plane 11 already. So, yeah. To be honest, I'm not really into those kind of classic jets personally. But, you know, it would be interesting. Maybe the big news that PMDG is gonna come out with maybe soon, that they've been talking about for so long, is gonna be that they suddenly release a 737 MAX for X-Plane 11 or something. That would be awesome. Let's take a look. What else do we have? Aviation Gamer, do you love the lighting in X-Plane 11, including stuff like physical based rendering? Yeah, I really like that. I mean, that's definitely a lot better in Prepared. I mean, the night look and night environment just looks a lot better, to be honest. So yeah, you can see that in my first video when I try X-Plane 11 for the first time. What else do we have? Oh, there we go. I need to remove a user, I think. I don't want to go politics right here. So, anyways, if you have any other questions, let me know, guys, regarding this. The great Hadoken cloud art. Yeah, that's true. Cloud art is, you know, well, they actually released it already for Prepared. I'm not sure if that's actually going to be, you know, if they're actually going to be implementing 3D clouds, because from what I know, Active Sky Cloud Art, ASCA, is only 2D clouds. So really, you know, what I mean by 3D clouds is actual 3D structures. So that's not a 2D texture facing towards you. That would be interesting. So yeah, I mean, that's what you already can see in Flight Sim World by Dovetail Games. Let's take a look. How can you drink coffee so late in the evening? Yeah, that's true. I'm kind of late with that because I normally drink coffee around 8 o'clock local time, and then I kind of sleep, you know, at about 12 o'clock usually. So you know, by that time, you know, the caffeine has lost its function already. What else do we have? Is there a timeline for X-Plane 12? I really don't know. I really don't know, to be honest. Of course, I'm not really sure about the X-Plane development. I'm more kind of into the prepared stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of how it works. Let me deal with this guy right here. Let's see if this works. Anyways, what else do we got? The Patriot, if you ever want to become an airline pilot, would you fly national flights or international flights? I'm from the US, so I'll be doing national flights. Well, to be honest, I would love to, you know, I'd probably go get flight training in Europe. So, you know, in that case, I would love to just fly in Europe because, you know, it's just, I like the short flights a lot more. If you can actually fly, you know, if you can actually make a lot of takeoffs and landings like that's just amazing. And you know, I would love to work for an airline like City Hopper, KLM City Hopper, just making short flights, like 1 hour flights. I mean, think about it. If you would be able to fly from Amsterdam to London City, London City to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to maybe Norway, something like that. It's short flights. I mean, that must be amazing, because otherwise you're just sitting. I mean, honestly, there's not so much to do in that sense. So, you know, there's not much to do in the cockpit. Of course, yeah, you need to do paperwork and all that stuff. But the truth of the matter is, and I've heard this from real world pilots, you know, it's really not that interesting during cruise time. And I probably would not really like the time zone changes all the time either. So I would love to just fly within Europe for an airline like KLM City Hopper. That's kind of the dream goal, so to speak. Anyways, any other questions? Hello from Norway. Are you planning some VATSIM flights in Norway soon? Well, I'm not sure. It really depends on my own schedule and ATC availability, of course. So of course I already did a flight in Norway last time, so probably will pick another region, maybe in the US or maybe in Australia. Actually, I'm looking forward to do a flight in Australia again as well. But of course the time zone is a little bit different, so it probably needs to be an event where there's just a lot of you know, ATC throughout the day or something. That's kind of perfect, so I can, you know, don't have to do the live stream in the morning when nobody watches, of course. So, but of course I'll keep you up to date about that on Facebook. And if you're a patron, by the way, if you want to become a patron, check out the description. Then I will release a lot more information. In fact, I just gave my patrons a list of the videos that are to come in April. So in that case, you can get some more detailed information. And otherwise, you'll probably be able to receive updates on that on my Facebook or Twitter page. But again, it really depends on my own availability, when I can actually do a live stream, and you know, if there's some ATC booked and if there's some nice scenery for both of the airports that I'm flying to and from. What else do we have? Yep, I'm from the Netherlands. Hello from Scotland. Hello. Good evening to you. Question by Madhu. Have you flown FSX yet? Well, I'm not going to be flying FSX anymore. I did fly FSX a couple of times, but you know, in general, I just skipped it. I went from FS2 downs to 4 straight to prepared, and I have to say, that's not a bad choice. I don't regret that decision to not first step to FSX, because just imagine how much add-ons you would have built up, you know, for FSX, and then you know, having to switch to prepared version 4. That would have been crazy. So yeah, I'm glad I did it this way, to be honest. What else do we have? If you have any questions left, guys, make sure you leave them right now so I can still answer them for you, or if you'd like to support the channel to make use of the super chat function, so I then can definitely answer it for you. I will stay online for another about 10 minutes. Fly to Warsaw, yeah, maybe that would be nice. Poland as well. Have I ever flown? I don't think I've ever did a VATSIM full flight on in Poland before. Another question by Jans. Have you ever tried Pilot Edge ATC services? It scares me. Well, yeah, I've not personally tried it for multiple reasons. Frankly, I don't really want to pay for ATC if you can get it for free on VATSIM with high quality. I know there's a free trial, but yeah, I really don't have enough time, and also maybe, you know, that scares me a little bit as well, because it's a region I never fly in, and definitely not general aviation, which I think is simulated there a lot. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure if I can, if I will fly on Pilot Edge. If I will do, I probably need to do some training first, so I can really get myself to grips with the local procedures and the VFR procedures, because frankly I don't fly a lot of VFR in the sim. Anyway, what else do we have? Steve from Maple, which flight control joystick do you recommend people to buy? After several years it started flying again. Right now I'm flying with Trustmaster. Yeah, well, I would personally recommend this guy over here, the Logitech Extreme 3D Pro joystick. You've heard me talk about this one quite a lot of times. It's a very durable joystick. I've made a review about it as well. It has quite a lot of buttons to configure, and it's just a very basic joystick that will keep you and get you going. So definitely that's the one that I would recommend if you're just starting, and otherwise just go for the SciTech Pro Flight series. The yoke is really nice. Of course it feels kind of cheap, but you know, it's okay for a you know, a regular flying experience for not too much money. So yeah, I think it's good to get that feeling of having to use your feet with the rudder pedals and having to use your one hand on the throttle and one hand on the yoke. I think that's good if you maybe ever want to consider doing some flight training. You know, getting that feeling of using all those you know, steering movements. Then I think that is the best way to go. And I think maybe if you get a second hand, maybe for about 100 or 150 bucks, you can get quite a good deal on Marktplaats, the Dutch eBay kind of. Well, what else do we have? Eric, where are you from? I'm from the Netherlands. That should be pretty clear by now. Question by Maxime, what do you think about the CRJ200? Yeah, I've not tried those actually. I'm also interested to try that sometime, the CRJ series by Aerosoft. But again, I've just not tried it yet. It's a nice, I like flying regional jets. I really like flying the ERJ in FS 2004 and prepared version 3. Unfortunately, there's no good ERJ yet on a prepared version 4, so I really hope Fuel Air will update their series so it works with prepared version 4. But CRJ would be a good alternative, I think. But again, there's so many airplanes to try. Man, another airplane I'd love to try is a Leonardo Mad Dog. That really looks very nice. I mean, also with the shared cockpit function, that looks quite fantastic. And the same for the Majestic-8. Still have to try that one as well. So So I've got about 5 minutes left, guys. If you have any questions right now, make sure you leave them right now so I can still answer them for you. I will try to do my best. In the meantime, I'd like to thank you everyone for joining in and sharing your thoughts and ideas about Explain and Prepared, and it's definitely an interesting discussion that will probably go on forever until one of them goes bankrupt. But anyway, it's good to have this competition because it will generate better simulators for us all. I mean, it's good that this development is going on, and even the more technical advanced developments like VR, I mean, that's pretty interesting. I mean, if I still need to try that, the VR stuff. I watched a video on the Orbex forums as well, where you get a preview of the Netherlands, and just being able to look all the way around you like that, that's just fantastic. How old am I? I'm 23. I'm 23, yeah. So another question by Ripley: do you have any real-world flying experience? The only thing where I did some flying myself is in a Cessna. There's a video about that as well. It was 8 years ago. Well, 7.5. So a long time ago. I really need to get some real-world flying experience again. Although I did fly in the Boeing 737 simulator a few weeks ago, well, months ago actually, in the meantime, which was great fun. So maybe that kind of counts like real-world flying experience, but that's definitely very interesting. But flying a Cessna is great fun. I can definitely recommend it if you ever have a chance to do that. Even if it's just 15 minutes, it's just a great experience to be truly at the controls of such an airplane. And also doing the ATC stuff, because I was also able to do some of the air traffic control. There was not really much air traffic control. It was just this guy in the office saying Roger to every position report. But it's kind of interesting to be actually talking over the radios so that everyone can hear you in real life. And I've got to be honest, it was thanks to my VATSIM experience that I was able to do that, because I don't think that pilot next to me would have let me done that if I did not have that experience beforehand. I mean, you kind of know you kind of need to know how to do a position report, if you're flying on downwind leg, final for landing, things like that. And of course you need to know the ICAO alphabet as well. What else do we got? Do a flight with Norwegian livery. Yeah, well, I already did the flight. The last flight is with a Norwegian livery, flying... actually, Nortrans is the airline, so it's a little bit different. Another question by Jan: how to start on VATSIM, learn flying 737 offline and then join, or just fly traffic patterns in a Cessna? Well, both. If you're planning to fly airliners on VATSIM, just make sure you really master the 737 before you go online. Make sure you fly a short route like Amsterdam to Frankfurt multiple times, so that the flying aspect of your VATSIM experience is no problem anymore. Then go on VATSIM using a small Cessna, fly circuits to get used to talking to ATC, and then you can kind of combine that by making a VATSIM flight with your airliner. It really takes some time to get used to communicating and flying at the same time. It takes effort. You really need to get practice. It's not something you can do just off the bat. Let me tell you, you won't be able to do that. Time for one or two more questions. Can you do a full flight tutorial on the 737 Ziba mod? Yeah, maybe. There's still a lot of development going on that airplane. I already did a flight from Vienna to Innsbruck, so maybe you want to check that out. I do cover quite a lot in that video as well regarding the systems. Another question by Aaron: what's your experience in the real-world flight simulator between X-Plane 11 and CBOMod and PMDG? Which one has more realistic handling? Well, frankly, I think I have to give CBOMod the credit here. It just, if I look at the amount of input of the yoke in the CBOMod and then kind of translate that to how it responded in the real flight simulator, I think I have to give credit to Zibo, even if it's free. So yeah, that's pretty interesting, right? But anyway, system-wise, you know, still PMDG is the best though. And of course, when you're using Active Sky in Prepar3D, it's a little bit different. You do need to give a certain amount of input, but I feel just the translation from your yoke input to the sim is more realistic somehow. What about flying it on Ireland? Yes, I do have to visit Ireland sometime, right? That's also a nice destination that I am thinking about. I don't. I've never actually flown to Ireland on VATSIM, I think. So, a good idea, Henrik. Thanks for that suggestion. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed this little live stream here. Stay tuned, by the way, for a video on Sunday. It's gonna be a special video, so make sure you check that out. In the meantime, there's probably gonna be another video next on the 12th of April. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of a break and then produce some videos again for you guys. So I'm sure you will enjoy that. And of course, in the meantime, I'll also keep experimenting with X-Plane 11. I will expand a little bit with add-ons that were kindly gifted to me so far. So yeah, stay tuned for that. There's definitely a lot more experimenting to do, and I'm gladly want to share that with you guys, share you with that experience. So bye everyone. I hope you all have a good night or day wherever you are. Yeah, I'm just gonna wrap it up here. Let's see if I where's my live control room. I kind of hurried when starting this live stream, so need to get back to this actual video and make sure I click the right buttons. Yep, there we go. That's better. So alright, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'd like to thank everyone for joining in, and I hope I will see you again on the next live stream, of course. That would be very nice. So thanks for watching, have a good night, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.